In today's video, we're going to be looking at how Ange Postecoglou has changed the frame at Tottenham Hotspur since Harry Kane has left, and we're going to see what he does tactically with his Spurs team. So on paper, from the get-go, you can see it looks sort of like a 4-3-3, but the amount of rotations and the way Postecoglou likes his team to play, it's almost irrelevant how the team looks on paper from the get-go. So this is what the team looks like in build-up. You've got the two centre-backs who hold their position just at the edge of the 18-yard box on either side, and you have Vicario, who's actually very important in goal for Tottenham to be able to play out from the back with those two centre-backs. You then have the three midfielders, which is actually the inverted fullbacks, Porro and Udogie, with Bissouma, who's in the 6. The two eights then push forward into the forward line, making that sort of 5 across the front or 4 behind the striker, as you can see in the image. So the thing is with Postecoglou's Tottenham is it's very fluid. The players can switch positions and they can make movements off the ball to open up space. So as you can see, I've made this example with Maddison, as Maddison has dropped in and Udogie is pushed into that 8 position. And obviously what that does is it means that those two players switching positions gives the opposition a question to answer, in the sense of, do they follow Maddison? So one of the defensive midfielders is following Maddison into that gap further away into the Tottenham half, or do they stay positionally and mark Udogie, who then takes up that 8 position, and Maddison, who then takes up that sort of central midfield wider left centre mid position. So it asks questions. This is the same on both sides, same with Porro and Sarr, and it just asks the question. So as you can see here, Van de Ven has the ball, and what this is doing is it has Bissouma as the central 6, as a centre point, and Udogie, who is starting as that sort of left central midfielder. But once they make that rotation, as you can see with the blue arrow, it creates that triangle in midfield, allowing Maddison to get the ball, and he can then find Udogie, who's made that run forward. That can happen on both sides, as I said, with Sarr and Porro, but these rotations open up a lot of space in those half spaces on the left and the right side for Tottenham. Another thing that is very important, and something that Postecoglou did in his last Premier League game for Tottenham, is he played Son through the middle and put Solomon on the left instead of having Richarlison up front and Son on the left. What this now offers is a bit more versatility with Heung-min Son, because what he does like to do is he likes to drop in to the midfield, and he can sort of come in as a false 9, collect the ball, and he can play deeper, which will then allow the strikers, or the wingers, sorry, Solomon and Kulusevski, to make inverted runs into the box whilst Son has vacated that space, like as you can see in this video. But Son also is very good at running in behind and getting in behind, running into channels and offering an outlet ball for Spurs, something that he can do very well through the middle rather than being isolated outside on that left wing. From striker, he can sort of roam around a bit more, he can run into either channel, he can run in behind, he can drop deep into midfield, he can contribute more to all facets of play. So as you can see on screen now, you have my Postecoglou at Spurs key points. So first of all, you have that 2-3-5 formation, which forms that 2-3 build-up using those inverted fullbacks that we spoke about, with the number 6, which is Bissouma, who has been so important for Tottenham this campaign, and I think he's going to be very important for Tottenham going forwards. You have the two 8s, Maddison and Sarr, who push into that high half space, and they create that front 5, which we also spoke about. Vicario is important in the build-up, because with those two centre-backs, they can play around that back 3, almost as if it's a back 3 rather than just two centre-backs. So he sort of forms that middle centre point, and then you can have Bissouma drop in to make that diamond with the two centre-backs and goalkeeper, and then you have Porro and Udogie, who can then sort of make slightly higher runs to get out of the press if the team is pressing really high onto the goalkeeper. So it's very important that they have that goalkeeper who's very good at playing with their feet and can be part of that build-up play. The midfield 3, with the two inverted fullbacks coming in so narrow, the aim is to have a very narrow midfield and have very tight gaps between each player to make sure that people are closer together so they can have quicker interchanges in midfield, rather than having very spread out build-up play and having them in very spread out areas, because then it takes the ball longer to travel and it's easier to pressure them. So what they want is, if they want to bait the press, they want those players to be close together so that they can play quick 1-2s, get around the press very quickly, and then attack into the space that is left by the opposition press. That's what Postecoglou aims to do by inverting his fullbacks in very narrow. And then the last thing for this page is the Sarr and Maddison dropping in to create triangles, which I showed in that little clip. That shows that Udogie and Porro then push further forwards. This allows them to build out from the back, and it's better for their ball progression, as they can drop in, make that triangle and bring opposition players out of position to sort of dismantle the shape and the defensive shape of the opposition team by those movements between the inverted fullbacks and the two number 8s being so fluid and versatile. As I spoke about with these fluid movements between the 8s and the fullbacks, it can really overload those central areas. It means that at times Maddison can drop in and Udogie doesn't even have to drift into the 8 position. So they can sort of have this overload plan where they can move players forwards if they want to, but if they don't want to, they can really pack the midfield and have Maddison and Udogie playing in that left space together, very close together, so they can have those quick interchanges. So it allows them to overload the midfield when they want to, and it's very easy to do so by having the players close together and very fluid between the movements. There's a few players that I think he's getting the best out of in this system, Postecoglou. I would say Bissouma has been massively important for them, just in the 6, his ability to pass the ball, but also to drive the ball through midfield, to offer them something different when trying to get out. If they get stuck, he can turn on the ball and he can drive from that 6 position into forward areas. So this sort of versatility of when he passes out and when he drives out offers Tottenham different things and ways of getting out. And this obviously helps in terms of other teams not being able to predict where Tottenham are going to go next. Then you've got Maddison, who's just become the pinnacle of the team, creating everything. He drops deep, he goes into the box, he takes set pieces. He's very pivotal for Tottenham. And Udogie, who we spoke about, who sort of rotates in that position with Maddison, sort of inverting early in build-up play. He then makes late runs into the box. He can even peel wide, and he's very good at overlapping and like providing overlaps, underlaps towards the left side, who he can then get crosses into the box, which we saw an assist that he got. So he offers that bit of attacking threat as well for Tottenham. And lastly, he's not written here, but Mickey van de Ven has also been very important with his physicality and defending counter-attacks for Tottenham, as obviously they only have those 2 centre-backs when they push those inverted full-backs higher and into the middle. So what it can offer is other teams the chance to attack down the flanks when they're out of position. So that means Romero and Mickey van de Ven have got very important jobs, as they have to seek that danger and sniff it out quickly to be able to cover those channel runs on the counter-attack. And Van de Ven is very quick, very physical, and he's very powerful, so he's very capable of doing that. He can spot a ball that's going to be played over the top, and he'll get there before most wingers can, and he can outmuscle them, and Tottenham can then rebuild the ball and get it back and just start playing again. So he's been very important as a signing as well. The last point I haven't touched on is the ruthlessness of Tottenham, and that is what is important about this Postecoglou team. He wants his team to constantly attack. He wants to outscore the opposition. He doesn't mind if you're going to concede a few goals or if they're going to be hit on counter-attacks. But what he does want is he wants his team to press high, win the ball back, go man-to-man, and try to score as many goals as possible and try and dominate by overloading the attacking third and leaving as many people in that attacking third and holding sustained pressure on the opposition, because his philosophy is if you sustain pressure for long enough, eventually you're going to score a goal. So what do you think of Postecoglou's Tottenham team? Let us know in the comments down below. Please leave a like to show your support, subscribe, and let us know what videos you'd like to see next.